Man, this is an exciting day because if you have been part of our workshop series, if you have been watching these lives here on YouTube, you will know that today is the last day that our membership community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier, is open for new members. We only open for new members once or twice a year, so this is a very rare time. And if you are interested in joining, go to dementiasuccesspath.com, same name as this channel, and we're excited to have you. In the meantime, for this, we are doing a Q&A. I am answering some questions that I didn't get to in the workshop, as well as some questions about the membership. All right. Oh, awesome. And we have the link below just in case as well. So welcome, welcome. All right. So our first question is, how the heck am I supposed to do it all as a caregiver? I, a lot of folks are saying, hi, Crash, welcome. Um, a lot of folks are saying, hey, I do all the care, I do all the admin stuff. Like, how in the heck am I supposed to find time to learn about anything dementia? Like, I'm just so overwhelmed. And the truth is that, you don't know what you don't know. And if you know the right communication skills, if you have things that are just done for you, lists, like shopping lists, like uh, some quick guides, like maybe other folks researching stuff for you, that can make a huge difference in your time and your overwhelm. Because I'm sure as caregivers, we know that it is something uh, that just consumes so much of us, just trying to do all the things. Like, you touch so many different professions, like social workers and doctors and lawyers and all kinds of folks. So it's just really, really hard to do all the things. So what I love about our community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier, again, the link is here, and we close tonight at midnight. Hi, everybody. For new members, we only open once or twice a year for new members. It is a done for you resource for you, a done for you community, and it's just awesome. Awesome. Let's see. I'm good, Ram. Thanks for asking. I hope you guys are good too. Hi, Hannah. Welcome. You really want to be a nurse? That's great. We welcome dementia professionals as well. If you're looking to work in like Jerry Psych, for example, I worked with a lot of nurses there. Oh, here we go. Here's a question from the workshop. It says, my husband tends to follow me around the house. His walking has become more of a shuffle, and it scares me because I never get a minute to myself. Yeah, absolutely. So, what can be really challenging about them shadowing you is if you are, the one and only person that is taking care of them, it can drain you really quickly. So, another big question I get asked a lot too is, hey, when should I place my loved one into long-term care? Like, when's the time? Because I think they're looking for like a moment of the disease, and that can be true. But I would say probably what's more accurate is, it's a care partnership. So it has to work for both the caregiver and the person with dementia to work at all. It just has to. So, um, if in that moment him just constantly following you around is just overwhelming you and you just never get a minute to yourself, that probably is a sign that you do need more physical support at home, whether it be home health, whether it be something that I definitely suggest, especially for folks who are in the early stages. But honestly, you could start at any time. Reach out to folks in your community. There are plenty of people, especially in churches, who want to volunteer, especially seniors who are maybe retired, who want to volunteer, depending on where your loved one is at that point. There are plenty of options to get you that help. If you're just like, I don't think I can afford this, like I don't know if we can do it. Then the good news about that too is Medicaid will offer waivers for in-home health and for adult daycare. So that might also be a sign that something you could do. And when you join Dementia Caregiving Made Easier, we offer a completely done for you guide to build up that network of folks supporting you. We have a done for you list of places you can go. We have a whole workshop dedicated to Medicaid. So all this type of stuff is there to help you. So again, if you're interested in joining our community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier, our doors close for new members tonight at midnight. We don't open again until later next year. So dementiasuccesspath.com to join, or click the link in this chat as well. All right. Let's see. I have a resident that has had a hip replacement but has dementia and schizophrenia. Just last night, I had to babysit this resident because they couldn't stay in bed and it was really, really overwhelming. Yeah, it definitely can be super overwhelming. And I think truly what's there when someone with dementia also has a mental illness, it just requires a team of people. I'm sure you've seen that crash is that it can be a lot because they're constantly trying to get up, they're trying to get used to meds. um, yeah, so definitely while they're trying to, in that period of time where they're trying to figure out the medication. And I would say if they already had schizophrenia before they had dementia, hopefully those medications are more likely to work since those medications are developed for people with schizophrenia. That's another thing that you can learn from our community as well. We have a ton of guest experts that come on and share their expertise and their wisdom with us. And it is incredible, incredible stuff. We learned from one of our doctors that had come on and shared their wisdom that a lot of the medications are black boxed for folks with dementia, which means that they can cause really, really awful side effects, up into an even death. And the reason why they'll still try to give it to them anyways is because they don't have a ton of options. It's really, really hard to create these medications for folks that have dementia because their brain chemistry is constantly changing. So it's hard to have a consistent like control group and test group going on with them. So, anyways, crash. I hope that that particular resident levels out as they figure out the meds for them. So Chase asking, am I a medical doctor? No, I am not. But in our membership, we do have medical doctors that have come and spoken to us, and that's where I'm getting the information from. We have cheat sheets versions of that, video versions of that as well. So, literally anything in your caregiver journey, whether you're a professional, whether you're a distance caregiver, whether you're a family caregiver, we've probably had just about every expert resource come on that you could possibly think of. That's another concern a lot of people will have is I'm so overwhelmed, I do not have time. The amazing thing about having the resources and things just done for you is that you can get back more of your time. Like, how much time have you wasted arguing with your person with dementia? Like, how much of a headache have you gotten from just trying to fight every single little thing because you did not know better? So much time, it's unbelievable. So truly taking, 5 minutes a month, even some of our members do even that little, to just get a tiny, tiny nugget of wisdom can free up a ridiculous amount of time as a caregiver. So, I mean, I would argue and say you don't have time not to. Crash says, we moved her bed to the floor to stop her from falling, but then I was told it was kind of restrained. What do I do? Because I can't do my job properly while watching them 24/7. Yeah, that's a good concern. So I would go to your boss, Crash, and like really talk to them about maybe the family needs to pay for someone who can stay with them one on one. Maybe the staffing has to go up because you're right, it is impossible for you to care for other residents when you're doing one to one with them for sure. Let's see. What does Medicare cover? What about hospice care? How do I contact them? And then another one is, how do you take over bills? Yeah, those are all great questions too. Yeah, so we've had a ton of experts come on. As far as the bills question, we've had a few different lawyers come on. They're your best resource when it comes to dealing with dementia and finances. But as far as like Medicare and hospice, so Medicare does not cover long term care. I think that's a huge, huge misconception, especially if you aren't from the United States. You're like, what? Yeah, the U.S. medical system's awful. So essentially, what Medicare does cover is rehab, doctor's visit, hospital stays, prescriptions. So anything short term is what Medicare will cover. Medicaid, which is a program for poor people, essentially the elderly poor people or disabled people, is is the more long-term care. There's different waivers that you can get, especially if you're committed to keeping your person in the community, like waivers for adult daycare or waivers for home health. Like there are a few home health agencies in every area that probably does accept Medicaid uh, to come over and help care for them. So that would be my explanation of the difference. And then what about hospice care? How do I contact them? So hospice, there's some very specific guidelines for hospice to cover dementia. They have to be very, very end of life, very, very much at the end of life, in order to uh, qualify for hospice. In order for Medicare to cover hospice, it has to basically they have to be absolutely certain that they have 6 months or left to live, and that's extremely hard to prove with someone with dementia. So, I mean, you could just Google any hospice nearby you. That's how you can do that. Okay, and as far as FJA news, how do you ask to take over the bills? So, I think what's there is initially it depends on where they are in their journey, and definitely and especially when I have folks who are maybe in the earlier stages of dementia and they're just like, "Oh, I don't know if I need that support right now." There's so much stuff you don't know about the legal system, about the medical system. It's ridiculous. And the more you can hop on that at the very, very beginning of your journey, the better off you're gonna be. So, the easiest path to taking over the bills is you going to an elder attorney, or an estate attorney and establishing who gets POA, or power of attorney over your person with dementia, and they would sign it over assuming they are lucid. Unfortunately, if you wait until they are super far gone, like maybe they're like really, really heavy into the middle stages of the disease, then for a lot of states, what you have to do is you have to go to court and petition for guardianship or conservatorship if you're in the state of California. Essentially, it's still the same thing, and that takes a lot more time and money and resources to get that done. To get guardianship over somebody or to get conservatorship over somebody's finances and medical issues is a big undertaking, and yeah, so it's definitely a lot easier to go to the elder attorney's office to have that POA and make sure that everything is set well because Medicaid really has quite a few requirements and it differs from state to state for what spending qualifies and what doesn't. So, for example, if you want to qualify for Medicaid, you absolutely do not want to gift your house or a big chunk of your money to like kids or other people. That will disqualify you for Medicaid. So, it is very important to see an elder attorney to make sure that you are the up and up for your specific state. This is just general information. Again, we've had multiple lawyers come on to Dementia Caregiving Made Easier to teach us the basics of this and the questions to ask our specific lawyers as well. I've gotten a lawyer for my own family because it's so, so important to do. So great question. Um, yeah, I agree with you, special forces. There absolutely is not enough people helping right there. The hospital gave him morphine, and it was like she was on crack. Oh, man, that's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that. The morphine just, like, made it worse. Ugh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so glad my channel helped you a lot, Jesse. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Jesse, you should definitely consider joining, our caregiver community, Dementia Caregiving Made Easier. We are closing for new members tonight at midnight. So if you're interested in that, go to dementiasuccesspath.com in order to sign up, and we also have, links in chat as well. All right. Let's see. Robert says, my grandma is very prideful and is consistently refusing help or in denying anything. It makes taking care of her hard. I'm just trying to help, but she argues about everything. Yeah. So I think that's something, this is in the realm of communication. When a lot of folks are saying, I'm just overwhelmed and I don't have time, typically this is the type of stuff they're talking about is it's you have to communicate with someone with dementia completely differently than you would have communicated with anybody else in your entire life. It takes practice and a lot of hard work to really get to a point where um, it feels natural and you don't have to think about it at all because it's just going so against what the way you communicate with anybody else. So I think what's there is Robert, you want to really understand what she believes is true. And you want to approach her with things as if what she believes is true. So I'll give you an example. If she is constantly refusing help with showering and you know she needs help with showering, you want to get a sense of why doesn't she believe that she needs help with showering? Um, really and it may take, like, maybe leaving and coming back, for her to calm down a bit if she's really fired up to get that answer, but that really helps. Sometimes for some people who are just super stubborn, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a shower wipe and I'll just be like, "Hey, I bought these shower wipes. Can you help me test these out? Like, you do something like this, like, here, what do you think? How does it feel on your skin?" So it makes them feel like you're not necessarily force them to do something they don't wanna do. You're asking them to help you with something. That's a really great way to get around that. So, I'm hoping that is helpful to you. Alright, question from day 3. Um, I don't think we got to talk about the membership. Is it for professionals or family caregivers? Yeah, great question, since we've had definitely some both of these in this live. Um Yeah, so dementia caregiving made easier is both for professionals and family. I would say definitely more family caregivers tend to join. However, we do have professionals on there that have gained a lot from it. The way that you personalize your membership can gear towards like you only see stuff that would be relevant to you as a professional versus when you're a family caregiver, maybe you have all the information like about Medicaid and lawyers and stuff like that. Whereas a professional, you just don't need to know all of that. All right. Sissy D says, while I'm at work, my mom will call me nonstop. It is okay. Is it okay not to answer all these calls? Can I check on a camera to see that she's okay? Yeah, absolutely. That's totally fine. And sometimes that is really the only way you can create a boundary with your person with dementia because they're not going to understand. There's no way you're going to be able to explain it, especially if they're doing it that impulsively. So yeah, sometimes you do have to do what you have to do to protect your peace. Because the thing is, even if you were picking up all those calls, chances are she would still accuse you of never picking up your calls anyways, so what's the point? Let's see. Also from our YouTube yesterday, we never got to what's the difference between the membership and the YouTube channel? Plenty of free help out there. Yeah, great question there too. So the difference between this YouTube channel versus the membership is this YouTube channel offers some quick skits, some quick scenarios of challenging dementia behaviors, which definitely a lot of people have gotten a lot of really great tips and tricks from there. However, it comes at you through the algorithm at random, so it's not super personalized to you. You're not interacting with any community or anybody who can relate to you. Uh, you may not be getting like as robust resources as you could, and we also offer one-on-one coaching as well for an extremely so most coaching on the internet, just period, costs like $150, like a session. We do it for $39 a month, like plus everything else we offer in the membership. It is insane. So if you are looking for some more one-on-one help with dementia in general, whether you're a distance caregiver, a professional caregiver, uh, a family caregiver, caregiver with someone in long-term care, it can absolutely be for you. So again, dementiasuccesspath.com to join our membership. We close our doors tonight at midnight and we do not reopen until later next year for new members. So Megan says, thank you so much for videos. I wish I would have had a wonderful resource when my grandma was living with me at the end of her life. There were 2 full years that she didn't even recognize me. Yeah, that is super, super valid, Megan. And I'm sorry to hear that about your grandma. Um, I had shared it, I think, in a different live that it can seem like our folks with dementia have forgotten us, but usually what's happening is they remember a younger version of you. So, for example, if they are seeing you, as an adult and they remember you as a child, they're not gonna connect the dots that adult you and child you are the same person. Like they're not gonna get that. So I don't know if that helps a ton in the moment, but some people find a little bit more peace with that at least they weren't 100% like forgotten or just wiped from their life. Let's see. This is completely hypothetical situation, but my biggest fear of all time is dementia. I know I'd rather just pass peacefully than live that through. Is there a way to do this? There are quite a few states and countries in the world that offered like death dignity. However, with dementia, it's really tough because usually the threshold for that is you have 6 months or left to live, similar to hospice. And that's really hard to determine where that line is with dementia. Interestingly enough, I did have quite a few experiences with folks who had recently been diagnosed with dementia in the psych hospital I was working for, because they had attempted. Um, so that was definitely very eye opening and definitely very sad for sure. Um, so, I mean, I think what's there as far as that type of stuff goes is a lot of people, more people think about that than you realize. But if there's any kind of hope I could give you, it's that, if you there are lots of ways to prevent dementia through lifestyle methods. I always highly recommend the Alzheimer's solution as a way to as a guide to live your life in a way that will help protect you from getting dementia, ideally, or at least severely lower your chance of getting it. Even if you get diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment, there are plenty of lifestyle interventions you can do that can help make your quality of life be immensely better. And the thing is that not everybody with dementia has like an awful time, truly. Everybody experiences dementia differently. So it's no guarantee that it would be terrible for you. It just really depends on a bunch of things. So I mean, I think what's there is that, unfortunately, you'd probably be on your own if you did get diagnosed. Um, okay, question from text. I am on disability myself, and financially things are tight right now as far as joining the membership. Yeah, I think a lot of us can relate to that. And quite frankly, I'm not here to take food out of anybody's mouth. But realistically speaking, I created the membership, outside of the free content I do here on YouTube and the free content I post on Facebook and Instagram, um, as a way to really dig into people's personal situations. So not everybody who's a caregiver is looking for a deep dive into solutions for their caregiving journey. Not everybody's looking for that community. However, if you are, I wanted to create a really comprehensive resource, a really comprehensive community that was affordable. So, again, if you have a Netflix subscription, you can afford you can afford dementia caregiving made easier. If you go to Starbucks a couple times a month, if you go to Chick-fil-A a few times a month, then you can absolutely afford our membership, and you will get so much back in return. And if anything, too, if you look at the cost of long-term care, it's $10,000 for skilled nursing. It is an average of like seven to $10,000 for memory care a month, you guys, a month. It is ridiculous amounts of money. Think about how much money we can save by having the knowledge to keep them at home longer. How, and I would say too, for our professionals that are watching as well, think about how valuable you could be to your workplace by knowing stuff that I'd say honestly very few folks who are working in the dementia industry do. Truly, it is sickening just how little the staff that works directly with folks with dementia are trained. It's gross. So I would say if you really love your job that much, you are an asset to where you work because I'm sure, as you know, the turnover is very high. So it is so worth it to get that community, that knowledge, those resources, that done for you setup that can make your journey easier. So again, dementiasuccesspath.com. We close our doors for new members tonight at midnight. Uh, and we don't reopen until next year. So definitely, if all that sounds good, if that sounds like, oh my God, I could really use something that's done for me, definitely join before we are closed for new members. All right. Robert says she constantly wants to shop, but she believes she has an infinite amount of money and gets upset if told otherwise. She wipes out her account. How do you recommend communicating to her about this? So if she 100% believes this, Robert, you are not going to convince her different. You are not. So if you have POA or you are in close contact with the person that does have power of attorney, so control of her finances, control of her medical decisions, then basically you want to make it so that she can't overspend, so she can't overdraw her account, so she can't get in contact with scammers and not necessarily have a conversation about it with her. Because again, this is a health and safety issue. This is the issue between her being safe and having the care she needs and not. So it's something that you you don't need to convince her of. I hope that makes sense. Oh, good. I'm glad it helps you with your grandma. All right. Let's see. I'm in England. Would it be a bad idea to join Dementia Caregiving Made Easier? My time zone is 4 hours ahead, so your workshops are ending at midnight for me. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I've actually had a few people comment on that. So I think what I'll do is offer workshops in the daytime for those different time zones for the folks that can't do nighttime or can only do weekends. I think we are going to be opening that up in the members area, not necessarily for the free workshops, which again, we're not doing until sometime next year. Let's see. Jessica says my nan has dementia and learning difficulties, not officially diagnosed, and we really struggle to communicate with her because she's angry all the time. How would you try to communicate with her? Great question. So what's there as far as trying to communicate with someone who is angry a lot is first you got to recognize her triggers. So what are some things that usually set her off? A big thing that I used to observe when I was working in Jerry Psych is anytime I heard one of the other CNAs say something like, "Oh, you can't do X, Y, and Z," I knew it was about to go down. I knew it was about to go down. So chances are there's body language or things that are said or things that are done that are triggering a lot of this. That you guys can try to figure out if you can if it's possible to minimize. And I would say most of it you can. If it's not a health or safety concern, you can absolutely minimize that conflict for sure. Um, Beyond that too, I'd also really pick your battles. That's a big one as well. Um, and lastly, I would really pay attention to how angry she is. So if she is screaming, yelling, cussing, whatever, she's not listening to you. So there's no point. So just saying, you're going to come back when you're both calm so that you both have a chance to calm down and then talk about stuff can help. Versus if she's just frustrated, you can ask her, hey, do you want my help or do you want to be left alone? Keeping it as simple and with as few words as possible is going to be your best friend when communicating with anybody with dementia, especially when their emotions are on high. Let's see. And what I mean is they forgot that they did something and feel like they have to do it over and over again because they forgot they already did it. Yeah, so really the only way to break that pattern is to engage them into doing something else. Let's see. More of a comment, but my time is limited and I'm emotionally exhausted. I don't think I'll be able to spend time for the membership. How much effort does this entail? Literally as much effort as you want to put into it. There's some members of Dementia Caregiving Made Easy, my private dementia membership community, again, that you can find on dementiasuccesspath.com, same name as this channel with just.com, who only engage like maybe for 5 minutes once a month. Uh, so truly, it just very much depends on how you consume information. We have it basically in printed form, we have it in long form video form, we have it in shorter video form. We have just groups that like our Facebook group that you can ask. We have small groups that you can join. There's one-on-one coaching you can do. So whatever way that you feel like you are going to get the most out of it, time wise, I'd say the better. And I'd say too, be creative about how you consume content for sure. Maybe you listen to a workshop replay while you're doing the dishes or while you're driving somewhere. Just do it while you're doing something else that you have to do. Um, Really, even if you're only half listening, you're going to glean something and it's going to save you so much time in the long run, so much effort in the long run. Like oh my goodness, it's like the amount of time people will spend trying to find the solutions online or trying to make these shopping lists or make these appointments that this is all stuff they don't necessarily have to do. Let's see. My mom is in denial about my grandma having dementia. My mom says that my grandma is faking it because she remembers stuff, but she forgets about my partner sitting next to her. Yeah, So kind of similar, the thing is, while this is true about folks with dementia, it's true with everybody that our folks with dementia and the people who don't are a lot more similar than you would think. You're not going to convince anybody of what they don't already believe. They have to come to that conclusion themselves if they don't have dementia. Usually, if they have dementia, they're probably never going to come to that conclusion on their own. But if they don't have it, then yeah, they have to come to that conclusion themselves. So the best way you can do that is maybe ask her, why she doesn't think mom has dementia. What are some things that she's seen? What are some things that she's noticed? Get curious. You'll be a lot more influential that way than just trying to convince her of something she doesn't believe. What are some early signs to look for with dementia and Alzheimer's that some people just blow off as old age that should be looked for? And what are the difference in symptoms? Yeah. So dementia is an umbrella term for cognitive decline over time. So dementia and Alzheimer's are the same thing, but uh, Alzheimer's is the specific disease. So kind of like leukemia and cancer, for example. So cancer is like the category of disease, and then leukemia is the specific disease. That's the same with dementia, Alzheimer's. Um, so that's the difference. So I would say some really common symptoms are them struggling with complex tasks. So I would say them struggling with bills, them not just forgetting a word, but it, like, dropping out from under them. Like, it's not even on the tip of their tongue, it's just, like, gone. Them losing items in really, really weird places. Uh, like, keys in the freezer is, like, a really classic example of that. Them getting lost in, like, familiar places, them struggling with driving. Like, these are some, really common things that people will blow off as older aging that, should be looked more into. Let's see. I'm forgetting a lot, and I'm only 44, but I don't wanna forget about my job. Okay. My mom with early onset Alzheimer's always wants to go grocery shopping, even if we went that same day. I want to try to redirect, but this behavior is getting harder to manage. Any tips? Um, yeah, so I think what's there is uh, maybe trying to figure out like what she's needing at the grocery store. Maybe you guys already have it, so you could be just like, "Oh, we already have X. Thanks for looking out." Um, So that could be something that's there, and I would say maybe right after you go grocery shopping, maybe engage her in setting up some food, setting up the meal so that because oftentimes it's like out of sight, out of mind with our folks with dementia. So that can definitely help. Let's see. Membership question. My parent slash loved one is already in memory care. Does this apply to me? Absolutely. Here's the deal. Just because you place your loved one in memory care or long-term care, you're still a caregiver. 1 billion percent because you're still advocating for them, you're still visiting them. Like if you care enough to come to these lives or you care enough to come to workshops or what have you, uh, you obviously care. So, absolutely. And there's definitely different challenges that come with having them in long-term care, where I think having that community support, having that done for you support is also still very important. So you can focus on what matters, which is advocating for your person with dementia. Let's see. Is it true alcoholism can cause it to happen earlier in life? Um, you know, I'm sure it's a factor. So for most dementias, it's a combination of like genetics and lifestyle. So I certainly that can help. What does your membership offer that we can't find on YouTube? Good question, Kiwi girl. Yeah. So on YouTube, it's basically just really like 30-second scenario videos. So that's what you'll find on YouTube. So in the membership, what you'll find is uh, monthly workshops. You'll find printable resources, shopping lists, guides. Um, you'll find a whole library of guest experts that and their correlating cheat sheets that go along with them. You'll find one-on-one coaching. You'll find small groups. So you'll find a whole bunch of stuff in the membership that you'll not find on YouTube. So again, if you're interested, go to dementiasuccesspath.com to sign up. We close our doors tonight at midnight and we're not going to reopen for new members until next year. The reason why we do that as well is because honestly, what I love to do is either focus on my members or create free content. Those are the two things I love to do. So, uh, and also, I just really, for the folks that are just looking for a more personalized experience, um, that's really what I love to put my focus on is the folks that are really committed to getting that. Let's see. I asked because I'm worried my grandma is starting to show signs, but people are saying that it's because she's getting older, but she'll set down her keys and forgot that she set them down on her table. Um, yeah, so I wouldn't say here's the deal. Cognitive impairment doesn't always happen because of dementia. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for her to get tested. Usually, what neurologists will do when you take them is they will take them through a battery of tests to eliminate anything that is curable that could be causing the cognitive decline. So I wouldn't automatically assume it's dementia. Oh, I'm so sorry that your mom's going through a seizure, Luella. Let's see. Do dogs get dementia? Um, maybe. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure if dogs get dementia or not. All right. Well, everybody, I've got 5 minutes past my stream time, so I hope I was able to get to your question. Again, our dementia caregiving made easier is closing tonight at midnight for new members, and we do not reopen until sometime next year. So go to dementiasuccesspath.com to join or click the link in this chat as well. And hopefully, I'll see you guys on the other side. Oh, and additionally, too, if you um, want to hear more, I'm also going live on Facebook tonight. Yes, thanks so much. We'll register. Yay! Welcome, Kiwi Girl. We'd love to have you. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming. And I will see you guys hopefully on the other side and dementia caregiving made easier. Bye, guys.